The American Northeast just faced a historic nor'easter, a bomb cyclone that buried cities from Maryland to Massachusetts under a relentless blanket of snow. This wasn't just another winter storm, it was a meteorological event that will be talked about for generations. A true test of endurance for millions of people living in the region. Providence, Rhode Island, saw a staggering 37 inches of snow, an amount that shattered records and left entire neighborhoods immobilized. From New York City to Boston, 1 to 2 feet of snow fell in just hours, transforming bustling urban centers into silent, snowbound landscapes. The sheer volume of snow was enough to bring even the most prepared cities to a standstill. The heaviest snow bands targeted Long Island and the Jersey coast, dumping up to 20 inches in some areas. Snowfall rates soared to over an inch per hour, overwhelming snowplows and emergency crews. Streets that were cleared minutes before were quickly buried again, making it nearly impossible to keep up with the relentless pace of the storm. Ferocious winds, gusting up to 80 miles per hour, whipped the snow into blinding whiteouts and sculpted massive drifts that towered over cars and blocked doorways. For hours, visibility dropped to near zero, and the howling wind made even short trips outside perilous. The combination of heavy snow and hurricane-force gusts created a scene more reminiscent of the Arctic than the Northeast. New York City received its first blizzard warning in nearly a decade, a rare and sobering alert that underscored the seriousness of the situation. Warnings stretched across the entire region, from coastal towns to inland suburbs, as officials braced for the worst and urged everyone to prepare for extended periods indoors. The National Weather Service's blizzard warning signaled not just inconvenience, but real danger. Residents were strongly advised to stay off the roads, as travel became not only difficult, but life-threatening. Businesses shuttered, public transportation ground to a halt, and city streets that are usually alive with activity became eerily quiet, with only the sound of wind and snow filling the air. Roads vanished beneath feet of snow, cars were buried so deeply that only their tops peeked out, and familiar cityscapes were transformed overnight into a winter wilderness. The storm's intensity left even seasoned northeasterners in awe, as landmarks disappeared beneath drifts and entire blocks became unrecognizable. This wasn't just another winter storm, it was a test of resilience for millions. Neighbors checked on each other, communities came together to dig out sidewalks and driveways, and emergency crews worked around the clock to restore access and provide aid. The blizzard brought hardship, but also countless acts of kindness and solidarity as people faced the storm together. As the sun finally rose over a landscape blanketed in white, the true scale of the blizzard became clear. People ventured out to document the historic snowfall, capturing images of their transformed neighborhoods and sharing stories of survival and perseverance. The Northeast will remember this blizzard for years to come. Not just for the records it broke, but for the way it brought people together in the face of adversity. As the snow settles and emergency teams begin to assess the damage, the true impact of this extraordinary storm is only beginning to emerge. From the challenges of recovery to the memories forged in the heart of the blizzard, this was truly a storm for the history books. Leaders across the Northeast acted fast. New York's governor declared a state of emergency for 22 counties, and New York City's mayor imposed a travel ban to keep roads clear for emergency crews. New Jersey's governor declared a state of emergency for all 21 counties, a first in 30 years. Boston's mayor triggered a snow emergency, closing schools and city offices to keep people safe. The message was clear: stay home, let the professionals work, and don't risk your safety. Cities even hired emergency snow shovelers to clear public spaces, showing creative problem-solving in action. These coordinated efforts, from state to city level, were crucial in managing the storm's chaos. Quick decisions and unified messaging helped prevent greater disaster. Leadership made all the difference in weathering this historic blizzard. As the blizzard swept across the Northeast, travel ground to a halt almost overnight. The region's busiest air corridors, usually bustling with activity, fell eerily silent as the storm intensified. Airports that typically see thousands of travelers each hour became ghost towns, with rows of grounded planes and runways buried under thick blankets of snow. The scale of the disruption was unprecedented, leaving both travelers and airport staff stranded and uncertain about when normal operations would resume. Over 9,000 flights were canceled at major airports like JFK, leaving passengers scrambling for information and alternative plans. The departures boards, usually filled with destinations and departure times, now displayed a sea of red, canceled notices, a stark reminder of the storm's reach. LaGuardia, Newark, Philadelphia, and Boston Logan were all paralyzed by the relentless snowfall. Snowplows worked around the clock, but the accumulation outpaced their efforts, making it impossible to keep runways and taxiways clear. On the roads, conditions were equally treacherous. Whiteout visibility and rapid snow accumulation made driving nearly impossible, with vehicles crawling along or abandoned altogether. Highways that connect entire cities were reduced to narrow, icy paths, and even emergency vehicles struggled to navigate the hazardous terrain. Emergency travel bans were swiftly enacted, keeping non-essential vehicles off the streets. This gave snowplows a fighting chance to clear main arteries, but also left many people isolated, unable to reach work, school, or loved ones. Public transit systems faced major delays and widespread shutdowns. Buses became stuck in drifts, trains were delayed or cancelled, and millions of commuters found themselves stranded, their routines upended as the storm disrupted the start of the work week. Even the subways, a lifeline for so many, were hard to reach through deep drifts. Commuters waded through waist-high snow, shoveling their way to entrances just to catch a delayed train. The storm exposed just how vulnerable our interconnected transportation networks are to extreme weather. Railways, bridges, and roads, so vital to daily life, were all brought to a standstill, highlighting the challenges cities face in preparing for and responding to such powerful storms. Recovery will take days, if not weeks. Crews must clear highways and residential streets, while residents dig out cars and sidewalks buried under feet of snow. The process is slow and exhausting, requiring patience and persistence from everyone involved. The sheer volume of snow makes this a monumental task. Towering snowbanks line city streets, and every cleared path is quickly covered again by blowing drifts. Workers and volunteers labor around the clock, knowing that the job is far from over. The blizzard's impact on travel will be felt long after the last flake falls. Infrastructure will need repairs, schedules will need to be rebuilt, and the memories of this storm will linger in the minds of travelers and city officials alike. In the end, it's a collective effort to get the region moving again. Neighbors help neighbors, and communities come together, proving that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, resilience and cooperation can help restore normalcy, one shovelful at a time. The blizzard didn't just disrupt travel, it hammered the region's infrastructure. Heavy wet snow and fierce winds knocked out power for thousands, leaving families in the cold and dark. Utility crews struggled to restore electricity amid dangerous conditions. Coastal areas faced storm surges and flooding, with water pushing inland and eroding beaches. The weight of the snow threatened roofs, especially on flat buildings, and buried fire hydrants, complicating emergency response. Calls went out for volunteers to help clear critical infrastructure. This storm tested the resilience of power grids, buildings, and emergency services all at once. Recovery means more than plowing. It's about restoring the basic functions of daily life. The blizzard revealed just how interconnected and fragile our systems can be. Amid the chaos, communities pulled together, neighbors with snowblowers cleared sidewalks for the elderly, and online groups checked in on vulnerable residents. Families made the most of snow days. Kids played outside, while others caught up on indoor projects or shared meals by candlelight during outages. Grocery shelves emptied before the storm, so people got creative with what they had. The sound of shovels filled neighborhoods as everyone pitched in to dig out. These shared challenges brought people closer, with neighbors chatting across snowbanks and offering help. Social media became a lifeline, sharing storm photos, tips, and humor to lighten the mood. Digital connections helped fight isolation and kept information flowing. From on-the-ground teamwork to virtual support, the blizzard showcased the Northeast's resilience. Even in hardship, the spirit of community shone through. The storm reminded us that together, we can weather anything. As the Northeast recovers, a bigger weather story is unfolding. El Niño is making a comeback. This climate pattern, marked by warming Pacific waters, shifts weather worldwide, including here in the US. Scientists expect El Niño to be fully formed by autumn, influencing the jet stream and shaping weather for the rest of the year. Past El Niño events have brought dramatic changes, from wetter winters to milder temperatures. The transition from La Niña to El Niño signals a major shift in seasonal trends. While we can't predict every storm, El Niño gives forecasters clues about what's ahead. Its impact will be felt in everything from hurricane season to drought relief. All eyes are on the Pacific as this powerful pattern develops. El Niño could mean a quieter Atlantic hurricane season. Its increased wind shear disrupts storm formation, making it much harder for hurricanes to grow and intensify. When El Niño is active, powerful upper-level winds sweep across the Atlantic, essentially tearing apart the thunderstorms that try to organize into hurricanes. This natural phenomenon acts like a shield, breaking up the structure of developing storms before they can become dangerous. As a result, the risk of major hurricanes making landfall is reduced. That's welcome news after several active years, when coastal communities have faced repeated threats and devastating impacts. Fewer hurricanes mean less worry for millions living along the Atlantic and Gulf coasts, and a chance for hard-hit areas to recover and rebuild. But it's important to remember that even a single landfalling storm can cause widespread disaster. All it takes is one hurricane to upend lives, damage infrastructure, and leave lasting scars on communities. That's why vigilance and preparation remain crucial, no matter what the seasonal forecast predicts. El Niño doesn't just affect hurricanes, it also shifts rainfall patterns across the country. The southern U.S. often sees increased precipitation with more frequent and heavier rain events. For regions that have been battling drought, this can be a lifeline, bringing much-needed moisture to parched soils and depleted water supplies. The southern plains, Gulf Coast, and even parts of the west could see much-needed rain. Extra snowpack in the mountains and increased rainfall may help refill critical reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell. which have been at historic lows in recent years. This boost in water supply can provide short-term relief for farmers, cities and wildlife that depend on these resources. While one El Niño event won't solve the West's long-term water challenges, it can stabilize supplies for a while, buying time for communities to plan and adapt. The extra water can also help reduce wildfire risk by moistening vegetation and soils, making it harder for fires to ignite and spread. The reach of El Niño's influence is vast, affecting agriculture, wildfire risk, and water resources nationwide. Farmers may see improved crop yields thanks to better soil moisture, while communities vulnerable to wildfires could benefit from a dampened fire season. Rivers and streams may flow stronger, supporting ecosystems and recreation. Meteorologists and scientists closely monitor El Niño's development, tracking its effects on weather patterns around the globe. Its arrival is a double-edged sword. While it can bring fewer hurricanes and more rain to dry areas, it can also cause flooding, landslides, and other hazards in places unaccustomed to heavy precipitation. The contrast can be dramatic. Some regions may swing from drought to flooding in a matter of weeks, while others experience unusual weather extremes. El Niño's powerful influence will shape the country's weather for months to come, affecting everything from daily life to long-term planning. As the season unfolds, we'll be watching closely, tracking the impacts and helping communities stay informed and prepared for whatever El Niño brings next. While the East battled blizzards, the West faced deadly avalanche conditions. 16 lives lost this season alone. Heavy snow atop weak layers created unstable snowpacks, making backcountry travel perilous. Avalanche forecasters issued urgent warnings, but the risks remain high after every major snowfall. Winter isn't over. More storms are expected across the U.S. as March approaches. The Northeast and Midwest should brace for more snow, ice, and cold as winter and spring clash. This volatile pattern means shovels and coats will stay in use a while longer. From blizzards to avalanches, the nation's weather has been relentless. Accurate forecasts and clear communication are vital to keeping people safe. The wild ride of 2026 continues, with major impacts from coast to coast. March is shaping up to be active. More winter storms could hit the Midwest and East Coast as the same weather pattern reloads. Recovery from the blizzard is ongoing, and new storms may add to the challenge. Now's the time to restock emergency kits and stay alert for weather updates. But it's not all snow. March 2026 brings a total lunar eclipse, turning the moon a striking red. It's a chance to step outside, look up, and enjoy a rare celestial event with family and friends. As winter winds down, let's keep our spirits high and help each other through the final stretch. From blizzards to blood moons, it's an eventful end to the season. Stay safe, stay prepared, and don't miss the show in the sky.